2025 Hyundai N VGT concept car in VR. Hello everybody and welcome back to OpenFed Gaming. I am the OpenFed. We are driving a 2025 Hyundai N VGT and we're driving it in a Gr.1 Prototype Series. We're driving at the Yas Marina Circuit at sunset, it looks like, with a clear blue sky. We're going to be doing 15 laps. We start at 20th of 20 cars, and we started with a rolling start. Now, when I first started this race, I must admit I wasn't really paying a lot of attention, and I jumped into this Hyundai. I thought it looked like an awesome car. Didn't realize it was electric. Not that that makes a difference, because it still is an awesome race in this vehicle, but just wanted to let you know that. So as we're going around here, the first thing I always like to talk about is when you're doing a race where you're going to be going into the pit stop, try and find out after the first or second lap where the entrance to the pit stop is. I mean, imagine you're surprised when you need fuel or change your tires and you can't find the entrance. Now, if you can find out where the exit is in the first lap right away too, if you're not familiar with the track, kudos for you, because it's nice to know when you're coming out of the pits if you can just hammer down, or if there's going to be a corner as soon as you come out. So it's always nice to know the way the track is going to go. And I'm not familiar with a lot of tracks. I've gotten to know this one now, but I wasn't before, so I had to make sure I did all that. Now the pit entrance is coming up on your right hand side right there. Okay, so when you're ready and you need fuel, if you're driving a vehicle that uses fuel, or if you need to change your tires, that's where the entrance is. And the exit, you go underneath the track here when you're coming out, and the exit's going to be on your left hand side right about over here. Now you got to make sure that when you come out that you don't cross over that pit line. I've done that quite a few times. I try to avoid it, but you end up incurring a penalty, which will be introduced later on the track, where it'll automatically slow your car down. So you don't want to do that if you're racing, so try to avoid that. Now we're already into our second lap and we're doing 15, so we got a ways to go. And this car is really fast. It handles the road really well. It's got great traction and lots of power, so there's no need to get excited. Try and drive as clean a race as possible and just take your time and enjoy the race. Now the thing that I really like about this particular car, and I've driven a Hyundai VGT before, but not this one. It was a different car in a different race, and they both have the information on the windshield. So on the left-hand side, you can see it says 14th, meaning we're in 14th place, and lap 2 of 15 laps. So it's kind of nice to know where you are in the race. Now, the only thing that it doesn't show is it doesn't show how much fuel you use, which in our case, electric batteries. And it also doesn't show your tire wear. You'd have to put your display of the game on, and I don't like to do that because then it takes away from the immersion. And these things on the windshield are part of the car, so it's part of the immersion. Now we're just finishing our third lap, and what I think we're going to do, even though we don't need fuel, we might need new tires, because I don't know, I'm not sure how fast my tires are going to wear down and if I can do all 15 laps or not. But it looks like we're moving up pretty good. We're already in 12th from 20th, and we're only I'd say about halfway through our third lap. So I think we can afford a little bit of time around the middle of the race. So after maybe the 8th lap, we'll go in and we'll see what the status is and change the tires regardless, and then come back out. That's the plan. Now, other than that, the only strategy I got is that on the straights, and there's a few of them, they're really nice and straight, and you can really hammer down. So do that, and then on the corners or the rest of the track, like in here, you pretty well got to stay behind the car that's in front of you until you get to the straight section again, right here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and stay behind them try and drive a nice clean race according to the track, going from side to side, trying not to overshoot the corners, although we do our best. But I find that 15 laps, it's a long race. Okay, so now I really enjoy it because I've done 10 lappers, and I never used to like them when I first started doing them, but I started to get interested in them, and I tried them more often. And you know something, they are actually a lot of fun to do, and the 15 lappers, they're even longer, and sometimes I get a little tired near the end of the race because they take a while to do. So when that happens, you start losing a little bit of concentration around some of the corners. You brake a little bit too late, or your steering is not quite right. And when you brake late in the corners, you tend to overshoot the corner. And when that happens, if you can let off the throttle quick enough, you can catch it before you go off the track. Now, if you go off the track, you've got to try and get back on before the race itself will reset you on the track, and you end up losing even more time. So you really don't want to do that. You want to try and stay on the track. Right? And we do it to the best of our ability, but we're not always successful in our approach, I might add. That's just the name of the game, and that's okay. It's all in the name of fun. And I tell you, this Yas Marina Circuit, I've driven it a few times, and oh, see, here I go. Just a little bit too much of a hurry, and you overshoot the corner. Slow it down on the corners. We got lots of time. We are in 8th place, and we're only in the 4th round, so we don't have to get too crazy. Anyhow, like I was saying, at the Yas Marina Circuit, I've driven it a few times, and it doesn't take a lot to get used to it. The corners are set up so that you can go from side to side and not even really slow down, except for maybe this one here, because it's a little tighter corner. But you drive the track a few times, you go around a few times, and you catch on to that really quickly. Like I said, it's just sometimes when you don't, well, me anyhow, when I don't pay attention, that's when I overshoot the corners. So anyhow, having said all that, I really like this track. It's fast becoming one of my favorites. The graphics are awesome in it. I love the sunset to nighttime change with the lights coming on. I think it just looks fantastic. Anyhow, as we're now into our 5th lap, and well, we're still in 8th place, and that's okay. Like I said, when you're going through some of these here corners, it is a little difficult to pass, so you probably could in a few places, but there's really no point. Like, why try and race by him here and maybe overshoot the corner or run into him when you can wait until right here, say, and then pass him over here. You know, it's a nice clean pass, and it looks great. I think it's awesome. So we're just gonna try, like I said, you know, once you pass the car and you're on the straights, just open it up and let it go. Let it go and catch up to the next vehicle. And then when you're going through all these air corners, that's much better than the last time. When you're going through these corners, you just kind of stay behind them or stay with them. And if they zip away a little bit on you at times, that's okay too, because your main focus, as far as I'm concerned, should be to drive the race the way it should be driven. You know, try and stay on the track, because that's the only way that you can win. So keep it a little bit cleaner and wait for your opportunities, and when they come, you got to take advantage of them. That's the way to do it. Now we just caught up to these two guys again, and they're taking their time, and that's okay, you know. When they go a little slower and you don't have the opportunity to pass, you also get a little bit more familiar with the track itself too, and where you can and can't pass. So if you stick to that. Now over here, I could have passed, but I could have maybe shot through the middle, but I really didn't want to do that, and they kind of blocked me out pretty successfully. But I don't want to be too aggressive on the passing, because there isn't a need for it. So I'm just going to sit back and follow a little bit, wait for the opportunity, and then when it comes, then we'll slide by them. And like I said here, this same section again. There's no need to engage with them there. Wait till you get around the corner. You watch this. It's nice and easy. You slide in beside them and you get rid of them. You go by them. I think that looks much better. You know, it's better for you, and you move up, and now you're in 5th place. We only got 4 cars left in front of us. We're not even halfway through the race. But there again, we got to go into the pits, and I do believe I read somewhere that this car could do all 15 laps, but I'm not sure about that, and I'm not sure about the tires. But if that's true, then I'm sure that there's other cars out on the track that can do 15 laps on one tank as well. So when we go into the pits, we can have a bunch of cars go by, and then we're going to have to re-race them all again and try to catch up to the passer. But that's okay. That's what we're here for today. We're driving in VR in a 2025 Hyundai, and I tell you, if you have the opportunity to use the VR with Gran Turismo, do it. Go over to a friend's house and try it out. Mind you, it's going to cost you a little bit of money, because once you try it, you're going to want to have your own. You know, I was always a little worried about when I got the headset that it would seem a little bit too claustrophobic for me, but in actuality, it opens up the race. For me, it did anyhow, because you can take your head and turn it from side to side and look out the side windows. And I feel you can see more of the race when you're racing in VR. Now, there are still a few race cars that are really closed off and just have a tiny little windshield in the front. A car that is like that is the Viper. The windshield is very, very short from top to bottom. It's like a thin strip of glass in front of you. And it's not very wide either. So the field of view is very limited, not by the headset, but by the car. And some of those cars, especially the Gr.1 series, like the one I'm driving, that don't have the side windows, I find very difficult to see out of and to see where I am on the track. So I haven't really given them fair shake yet, and I will be getting back to them, because just like all the other races that I never used to like before, like the dirt track racing and these kinds of races, and then anything over 5 laps where you had to go to the pit stop, I'm liking them all now. I'm slowly coming around and racing each and every one of them, and try to get a little bit better every day. Anyhow, as we're coming around here, we're coming underneath the overhang of the purple bowl, as I like to call it, and when you get close to this here structure, you know you're at the end of whatever lap you're in. The 7th for us at the moment. Because there's the pit stop on the right hand side. Now we're going to start our last lap before we go in to see what our tires look like and see how much charging we need on our batteries to finish the race. We're just going to take it easy, follow this guy, and if he goes a little bit too slow, then we're going to leave him in our dust and head off into the pits as soon as we get around. Now, these laps are fairly lengthy. They take a little while to do, but it's amazing once you start racing how quickly they evaporate underneath your wheels. Now, we're going at a fairly good clip. We're going anywhere from 150 to 200 kilometers an hour at times. So no wonder the laps quickly evaporate, you know, at that speed. So, but you got to keep that all in mind. As you can see up ahead there, the purple bowl is quickly approaching. So make sure you remember, right-hand side pit entrance. This is absolutely fantastic looking race. This is becoming. It's probably in my top 5 favorite tracks, I would say. I didn't like it the very first time I drove it, but just like everything else. For me, you got to keep doing it a few more times, and you know you're going to like it. Now we're coming around here and going underneath that overhang, and pretty soon you'll be able to see on our display, because you'll get to see the display when you're in the pits, which is another reason why I like to go in. so I can see everything and see where we're at. And the guy in front of us, I believe, is going in as well, right here. Right. There we go. Now our tires are not that badly worn. We're just over a quarter of a tank of our batteries gone, as if it was a liquid tank. So we're gonna put in new tires, fuel up the batteries, and away we go. Now we're in fourth at the moment as we're passing underneath the track, coming out on the left-hand side of the track up ahead here. And like I said, watch out for that pit line. Do not cross that line on your right-hand side. I've made that mistake many times, or I forget, or I didn't see it, and you get, I think it's a 1 second penalty. I'm not too sure on that. Anyhow, we're in our 9th lap. So we got 7 laps left to go. We got brand new tires on. Our batteries are full. We don't have to stop until we see that checkered flag, and hopefully we will see that first as we're catching up to our first competitor. But we've only got 3 cars in front of us. So, you know, 3 cars in 7 laps, I don't think we're going to have too much trouble. So slow down on the corners the amount that you're supposed to and catch them on the straights. That's the plan of attack for the last 7 laps. Let's see if we can hold to that. Boy, I tell you, if you slow down a little bit, the track is really nice to drive. Now, my problem, of course, if you've been watching my videos, my problem always has been that I want to win the race in the first lap. I have to be in front. I don't know what that obsession is, but it must be deeply ingrained from my youth that I had to be first. However, if you use a little bit of common sense and slow down, especially around the corners, so you can take the corners properly, your lap time will increase. And you will be better at your races, and you will win more races, and in turn everything becomes more fun because there's no chaos on the track. You're not driving off the track, and you're not overshooting the corners. So everything becomes more enjoyable the better you get at it. And the competition is always good too, but we don't like to have too much competition because then it gets tougher to win. And we like to win as much as possible, just like everybody else. Anyhow, we're going to stick with this guy, and when we get the opportunity, I think right here is a nice long straight stretch. We'll just get by him. And now we've only got 2 guys left in front of us. 2 guys in 6 laps. Well, there you can see them right up ahead there. They just turned the corner. So, yeah, we'll take a lap or so to catch up to them. And then we will probably follow one or both of them for a little while. Now, there's a reason for that. I don't like to lead in a race, especially if I passed them now and I had 5 or 6 laps to go. I don't like that. I prefer to be chasing the car in front of me, because by chasing, I know where the lead car is. I know where the front of the race is. Now, if I pass them both, and I start leading, I don't know where the front, I know that I'm the front of the race, but I don't know how close number 2 and number 3 and number 4 are. They could be right behind me around a turn that you can't see in the rearview mirror. With a situation like that, right the last half of the lap, they could end up catching up to me and passing me. So, and it's happened before. So my problem is when I'm leading the race, I'm not quite sure about how hard to push it, how fast to go. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes I push it too hard and then I drive off the track. You drive off the track and the cars behind you pass you and you lose the race. This way, if I'm behind them and I can stay behind them and see where the front car is, say with about a lap and a half to 2 laps left to go, that's when I like to pass them. Now, I don't know if that's a good thing or if that's a real strategy, but that's what I come up with in my brain. like I said, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but if you know about that, leave a note in the comments and let me know, because this is just something I came up with. Now we're in the 11th lap, and we are almost, well, not quite, we're about halfway through the 11th lap. So we got 4.5 laps to go, and there is really no need for me to pass this guy. Okay, now of course if he goes abnormally slow, I will go by him. Then I will lead the race, because I know he's not going to catch up to me because he's going way too slow. But you watch him and he keeps zipping away even around some of these corners, and then you get close to him again and then he zips away again. So he's doing pretty good. He's being a really good pace car, so to speak. So we're just going to let him lead for a little while. There's no need to pass him. Not until a little bit later on in the race, or if he goes into the pit stop, of course, the fuel of the tires, you don't know. But as far as the rest goes, see, look at him, watch him zip away again, and you got to be right behind him to pass him anyhow, in places like this. So, yeah, we'll just follow him a little bit longer. We'll give him the false sense of security that he's winning the race until about the last couple of laps. Then we'll let him know who the boss is, and I believe it's Joop Fed in Hyundai, the 2025 Hyundai VGT. Well, I tell you, this is a really, really nice car to drive. I know I keep going on about it, but if you slow it down around the corners, and I guess that would be the same for most cars, but if you slow it down around the corners and just speed it up on the straights, it really responds well, and it's a lot of fun to drive in VR. So as we're coming around the corner here, we're getting, we almost tagged him from behind when he slowed down a little bit too much. Now this lap is almost done, and then there's only 3 left to go. Well, I tell you, for 15 laps, this race has gone by pretty quick. It looks absolutely awesome. You have to try it. The Yas Marina Circuit for 15 laps. Okay, now we're going to see, as we're coming by the pit stop here again pretty quick, we're going to see if he's going to go in for fuel. Now, if he goes in for fuel, then obviously we're going to be in number 1 for the last 3 laps. But you never know. Like I said, some of these cars might have enough fuel for the whole race. So you never know. You just got to keep racing now until it's over. And this is usually where I get a little tired. You do 15 laps in a row, and it takes its toll after. Even racing in VR, I could only imagine what it'd be like for the real drivers. You know, it's got to be very tiring, very tough driving these races. It gives you a whole new sense of appreciation for the people that do this in real life. In VR is much safer for you. Anyhow, Phil, the 13th lap, and still in the 2nd place. We're still following him, and I think he's getting slower and slower, and I think we're going to have to go by him sooner or later here. So I think this might be it for him. A beautiful car. So here we are in the lead for approximately 2.5 laps at the Yas Marina Circuit. Boy, I tell you, I sure hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, because it's just fantastic. It's just fantastic. Now there again, like I said, I don't know how hard to push it now, because now that you're ahead, you want to make sure you stay ahead. So we're going to keep it at a fairly good clip, but we're still going to slow down plenty for the corners to make sure that we take them safely, that we don't spin out. Because that's another, if you spin out, then you're really hooped, because you never know which way you're going to be facing, and you just wouldn't be able to recoup in time by the time the other cars, there would be a few cars that would pass you. You'd never catch them in the last lap and a half, 2 laps. So, best thing to do, don't spin out as we're coming up to the grandstand here in our second last lap. Boy, she sure flows through the corners really nice. They laid this track out just perfect. You go to the outside, cut to the in, and then you just cut back the other way. And when you're sitting in your car driving in VR, it's silly to think, but you turn your head and you lean to the left and you lean to the right as you take this corner a little bit too wide. I said to myself, you gotta smarten up on those corners, brake a little bit sooner. You know, you do lean with it, even though nothing in here moves with it, just your head and your body. But it's so immersive, it's so, you're fully, once you start driving, especially once you've gone a few laps, you're fully immersed and you're buying into it. Your whole body is buying into the VR part of the game. If you haven't tried it, you gotta get out and give it a shot. You will not be disappointed. I get a nauseous feeling and it doesn't feel so good depending upon what VR games I play, and a lot of them I can't play, but racing is no different than this. As if you were sitting in your own car, but you're going over 100 kilometers an hour constantly. So, a lot of fun, very enjoyable. Very, very cool. Then this guy is going way too slow, and we've lapped him now, we've passed him a few times. So guys like that, I don't sit and wait around for him, just let him go and keep racing. And here we are in our victory lap. Last lap, not going to take long to do, especially when there's no competition in front of you. Looks absolutely awesome with all the lights on around the track. I figured that maybe it might have been too dark because I heard that Yas Marina was going to be at night, but it looks great. It looks great, drives great. So a lot of fun driving this. Yeah, took that corner a little bit better. Now you can open it up on the straight section here. We're about halfway through the lap. And then we'll hopefully be, well, we are in first place, so we should be taking the checkered flag because I don't think there's anybody close behind us. What a great race. Absolutely awesome. I hope you enjoyed the video and maybe even took out a few little tips and tricks and tidbits for yourself. And if you just came to watch the video, awesome. And I hope you had fun watching it because that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Anyhow, I hope to see you back at Oberfed Gaming again real soon. And until then, you've been driving in a 2025 Hyundai N VGT concept car. And you've been driving it at the Yas Marina Circuit with me, the Oberfed.